Welcome. So, if you're an expert in relational databases, you know exactly how things work, right? Data lives in neat tables and it follows some very strict rules. Right, you've mastered create, read, update, and delete. But what if? What if you could only add and read? It sounds like a huge limitation, but let's explore a technology built on that exact principle. It's a whole new way of thinking about data structure, integrity, and, believe it or not, trust itself. Okay, so if we're not dealing with tables and rows, what are we dealing with? How is the data even organized? Well, instead of those dynamic tables you're used to, blockchain uses these fixed size blocks. You can think of each block as just a container for a batch of transactions. It's a lot like a page in an old school ledger book. Once you've filled up a page with entries, that's it. It's written. You can't just go back and change it. All right, that makes sense. But what's actually in these blocks, besides the transactions themselves? Great question. So every block has a header, and it's packed with crucial metadata. You've got your timestamp, of course. Then there's something called a nonce. It's basically just a number that's part of the puzzle miners solve to validate the block. You also have a Merkle root, which is just a really clever way to create a single cryptographic fingerprint for all the transactions inside. But the most important piece of all, it's the hash of the block that came right before it. Okay. This whole idea of unchangeable blocks leads to a really obvious question for anyone coming from the database world. How in the world do you update a record? Or how do you delete one? And here's the kicker. The short answer is you don't. And that's not a bug, it's the core feature. It's called immutability. The whole system is designed so that once data is recorded, it cannot be changed. Ever. So forget about those 4 CRUD operations we all know. Blockchain really only has 2 main functions. You can add new verified transactions, and you can read the permanent history of all the past transactions. That's a huge difference, right? It's a system built for keeping records, not for manipulating data. But how is that actually enforced? I mean, what's to stop someone with enough know-how from just going back and tweaking an old block? Ah, that's where the magic really happens. It's all about cryptography. Every single block gets a unique digital fingerprint, which we call a hash. It's calculated from everything inside that block. And I mean everything. If you change just one comma, the entire hash changes completely. And here is the crucial point. The next block in the line, let's call it block n+1, it actually includes the hash, that unique fingerprint of block n. That's the chain. It's this direct cryptographic link that ties every block to the one before it. So just think about what that means. If you wanted to go back and change an old block, its hash would change, right? But wait, that original hash is now part of the next block's data, so you'd have to change that block too, which would change its hash, and you'd set off this massive domino effect all the way up the chain. You'd have to redo all that computational proof of work for every single block that came after. It's basically impossible to do. That is a really clever security model. But it makes me wonder, why can't we just run this whole thing on a central server? Wouldn't that be more efficient and give us more control? Well, because a central server introduces a huge problem, a single point of failure. Plus, you have to put all your trust in whoever is running that server. Blockchain's whole philosophy is to get rid of that. It distributes the ledger across a network of peers. So you're not trusting a single person or company anymore, you're trusting the math, the cryptographic protocol. So what are the real, practical benefits of that distributed model? Oh, the advantages are huge. For one, it gives you what's called Byzantine fault tolerance. That's just a fancy term that means the network can agree on what's true, even if some of the computers on it are trying to lie or cheat. There's no single point of failure, and the whole system can run on its own, managed by the rules in the code, not by some central boss. Okay, so when you put it all together, the structure, the way it operates, the security, the architecture, this isn't just a different kind of database, is it? It feels like a completely different paradigm. Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. From the basic data unit all the way to the architecture, every single part is reimagined. It's really a shift from trusting a person or company to manage changeable data to trusting a protocol to secure unchangeable data. And that fundamental shift away from centralized control is why blockchain is so much more than just a database. It's a new foundation for interaction. So it leaves us with this big question. When data becomes permanent and trust becomes decentralized, what new possibilities emerge? If this got you thinking, please do like, share, and subscribe for more explainers.